Hare Krishna. Welcome to all the devotees in today's session of the Secrets of Bhagavad Gita. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Supadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Today we are going to discuss Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, text number 13. Let us begin. Dehinosmin yatha dehe, kaumaram yauvanam jara, tatha dehantara praptir, dhiras tatra na muhyati. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Translation. As the embodied soul continuously passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. A sober person is not bewildered by such a change. Purport. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing its body at every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old man. So it's a very uh, notable observation, though we generally do not pay attention to such ordinary course of life. However, it is worthy of importance to meditate on this particular observation to understand the philosophical understanding behind Lord Shri Krishna's argument. So we do observe that a person passes through different phases of life. So his body sometimes uh, has a child form, the same body assumes a youth form, and the same body, when grows old, assumes an old form. So, even after having so many different forms, the person who is within the body has the same feelings or has the same identity. So, that identity does not change with the change of these different phases of the same body. So similarly, a soul, uh, he changes different bodies based on his previous karmas. So as soul changes different bodies in the uh, in this life, similarly, it is reasonable to accept the soul ever exists, and what we call as death, it's simply a change of body for the soul. So that's a simple reason Lord Shri Krishna presents here. Uh, Arjuna knows this science of soul very well. However, uh, it is so astonishing that Lord Shri Krishna has to present the fundamentals of science of soul. So Arjuna, uh, though he understands that there is soul, he need not be educated on how soul exists eternally, and uh, a soul has to change different bodies based on his karmas. So Arjuna is quite aware of this, but still Lord Shri Krishna instructs Arjuna uh, in the most fundamental aspect of the science of soul. So there is, uh, we can say, it's mainly for uh, ignorant mass of people. Lord Shri Krishna is speaking like this. Uh, Arjuna, having been trained into Gurukula, uh, he has enough knowledge of the philosophy of soul and God. So to teach Arjuna in a way as if one teaches an ignorant person, that is something not expected here, at least within the context of conversation between Arjuna and Lord Shri Krishna, because both of them are highly learned personalities. So it is similar to a scene where two PhD people discuss something very fundamental things like ABCD, for example, or 1 plus 1 is equal to 2. So it's kind of that situation here. So Arjuna is supposed to know all these things, but here Lord Shri Krishna, making Arjuna as an instrument, he is actually instructing all society or all ignorant people uh, about the science of soul. And we can also understand the same situation in this way, that sometimes it is necessary to remind even a knowledgeable person about the fundamental things. So it is possible that there is such a need in society where even the most learned person needs to be reminded about the most fundamental aspect of life, and uh, that is a way of presenting the things. Sometimes we may think that this introduction of preliminary aspects of uh, science of soul is not necessary. However, in Vedic text, at many places we see that sometimes things are given in a very simple format, and if we look at the context, it can be easily assumed that it was actually not necessary if, or essential, uh, because this is how we talk in our practical life also. It's not that all the time we discuss very fundamental things. So we can take it in both the ways, that it is a way of presenting the science of soul to Arjuna, to remind him once again that you are actually uh, uh, forgetting the fundamental aspects of science of soul, and it's so astonishing. So that is to, uh, in one sense, it is a way of awakening Arjuna uh, to the science of soul by presenting the most fundamental aspects of life. And another way we can understand that it is for the whole society. This knowledge has been spoken by Lord Shri Krishna. Next. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. This individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor for Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. So it is understood that whenever there is a death, there will be a birth attached to it. Jatasi dhruva mrityu dhruvam janma mritasya cha. So a death is born by the uh, at the time of birth. So the birth indicates death, and death indicates birth. As long as we have uh, material desires, so long we have to continue our existence uh, in this material world. So within the context of material world, death and birth both are interrelated, or in one sense we can say that they are all they are uh, inseparable. So Arjuna was lamenting for the would-be death of Bhishma and Drona, thinking that uh, killing them or killing their bodies will be adharmic or sinful, and being a saintly person, he should not be committing such a sin. However, Lord Shri Krishna presents this argument to convince Arjuna that such a consideration of sin is anyway always present in the uh, in Kshatriya dharma, particularly in Kshatriya dharma, because there are always instances of fight for a Kshatriya, and it is not unusual to face relatives in fight. So Arjuna has special relatives because his teachers and his grandfather both are present on the battlefield on the opposite side. So it was that definitely uncomfortable for him. However, executing the duty of a Kshatriya uh, was the expectation from Arjuna or from any Kshatriya in this situation. And simply worrying about uh, uh, the death of Bhishma and Drona was not a sufficient reason why Arjuna should not fight with them. Because, as Lord Shri Krishna has explained, and he will elaborate it uh, in the upcoming verses, soul never dies, and there is no point in considering the uh, death of material bodies. So certainly, death of Bhishma and Drona would cause pain to Arjuna. However, it is simply a death of their bodies. It's not a death of Bhishma or Drona. So they will be elevated to higher planetary systems because they are fighting um, for the cause of Kauravas um, with the uh, understanding that they are supposed to follow their own individual Raj Dharma. So, in one sense, they are also executing their duty, though uh, that that can also be argued that why they are supposed to support Duryodhana, who is actually committing adharma. But dharma is very complex, and sometimes it is very difficult to ascertain what is dharma and what is adharma. So while we are uh, in, in this Kali Yuga, in a society where there is no trace of dharma, or no, there are not many followers of dharma in the society. So it may be difficult for us to understand this, that why Bhishma and Drona, though uh, highly learned persons uh, in the matter of dharma, still supported Duryodhana. So there are very hierarchy among dharmas, and Bhishma and Drona gave more priority to their Raj dharma or their individual dharma. So they also knew that supporting Duryodhana was uh, act of supporting adharma. So they clearly knew this, but somehow they thought that they cannot act otherwise. They had to perform their individual Raj dharma, and they expressed their inability uh, by the words that they have taken artha or money from Kauravas or maintenance from Kauravas. So they cannot act against Kauravas or Duryodhana. So given this scenario, Bhishma and Drona, even if we consider that they are following some sort of dharma or just executing their duty without any attachment, so even if they die, they are going to get elevated to higher planet system. So uh, that is the outcome of such following of dharma. So Arjuna is not supposed to worried about them in any way, because Arjuna knew this very well that Bhishma and Drona are highly learned personalities. In fact, he knew about dharma from Bhishma and Drona. And at the end of Mahabharata, or near the end of Mahabharata, we see that Bhishma instructs Maharaj Yudhishthir into various dharmas. So uh, it is accepted that Bhishma and Drona knew dharma, and even after knowing uh, dharma and reflecting over different dharmas, they have concluded to support Duryodhana. So we may call it as adharma from the highest point of view of dharma. However, their supporting Duryodhana was not altogether adharma, because being subordinate to the king, they are supposed to perform their duty um, as assistant to kings. So that is also a dharma. Though Bhishma and Drona from time and again warned Duryodhana that his idea of usurping the kingdom of Pandavas is adharma, and he should refrain from it and give Pandavas their own share of the kingdom. However, Duryodhana did not listen to their advice, and he chose to fight with Pandavas. So Bhishma and Drona, being subordinate to the king Dhritarashtra, performed their own duty as advisors, as elders, and they gave uh, good counsel to Duryodhana. But still, as their individual dharma of being subordinate, they uh, chose to be with Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana. So that is also uh, dharma. However, if we see the highest definition of dharma, where so-called following of dharma actually turns into adharma, then such dharma or such following of dharma should be rejected. Uh, and on the other hand, even if there is a need to follow some something which may appear as adharma, however, in the result, if it becomes dharma, then that so-called adharma is also dharma. For example, telling a lie. Telling a lie is adharma. However, if the same telling of lie is done to save uh, someone's life, then that telling of lie is not adharma, because that actually protected dharma. So here the scene on the Mahabharata war or Kurukshetra field, highly learned personalities like Bhishma and Drona, they are giving importance to the inferior form of dharma. So they are also following dharma, but they are not actually following the heart of dharma or the actual meaning of dharma. So it is possible that sometimes we may follow dharma or follow some rules and regulation only for the sake of following them, and we may not even understand or reflect over the purpose of that particular activity or rules and regulation. So in technical language, it is called niyama uh, niyama agraha. So there is the only uh, emphasis on following rules and regulations without understanding the purpose of those rules and regulations. So Bhishma and Drona, they knew the subtleties of dharma, but still they chose to follow their inferior dharma, and they regretted for that. It's not that they were very happy in following their individual dharma. So there are transcendental reasons for that, because Lord Shri Krishna wanted particularly Bhishma to uh, be with Duryodhana so that Mahabharata war could take place. Otherwise, Duryodhana on his own could not declare war against Pandavas if he is not supported by Bhishma Dev. So that was also a reason. And we should also understand that whenever their great personalities perform uh, apparently some abominable acts, so there could be so many reasons for that particular thing to happen. So here we are not talking about any ordinary people or ignorant people, but these are highly learned people. Uh, they are regarded for their uh, adherence to dharma. So when such people do something, we should uh, understand that there must be some uh, higher reasons for that. So we should not simply judge them like we judge any ordinary people. So that is also a lesson here. So Arjuna, he knew that his teachers, his superiors, Bhishma and Drona, they are highly learned personalities. Though due to some reasons they have become arthakama, or they are desiring material gain. So let it be. But uh, they should be respected, and their even thought of killing their bodies is also seen as adharma by Arjuna, though he knows that in Kshatriya dharma such violence, it's simply unavoidable. So uh, Arjuna's dilemma here is that he is not just a Kshatriya, but he is a saintly person. So he's a Rajarshi. So though he appeared in the family, in the royal family of Kauravas, but by nature he is saintly. He is an incarnation of Nara. So Lord Nara Narayana, they are uh, they are the expansion of Lord Shri Krishna, and Arjuna. is an incarnation of Nara. So naturally, it is expected that he would be saintly in nature and he would prefer to follow higher forms of dharma. So even Arjuna considered that he should not be lamenting for the bodies and he should be actually worried about their souls. So simply fighting with the teachers or superiors or even killing them is not going to uh, block their spiritual progress. So that is the argument here. If the spiritual progress is blocked, then that actually makes a strong case for Arjuna to not fight with his superiors. However, here uh, on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, both the side there are learned people, and both and all of them they have the understanding that soul is eternal, and even if they die in the by performing their duty, it is worth dying because it's not going to uh, block their spiritual path. So Lord Shri Krishna has to remind Arjuna that we are supposed to act on the platform of soul, or you should not have forgotten the science of soul, and you are simply lamenting for uh, bodies of your relatives or superiors. So that is not befitting a Kshatriya. So any Kshatriya is supposed to know all these things and just not and not only know this, but he is supposed to act on it. So that is a reminder for Arjuna here. Next, rather he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least life in heavenly planets in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause of lamentation. So even Arjuna thinks that if I killing my superiors is will be sin, but in actuality, what would be harm to Bhishma and Guru Drona? Their old bodies will be destroyed, and they will get uh, some new bodies, or even they may be elevated to the higher planet systems because they are also following some sort of dharma. So they know they were supporting adharma, but they were bound to follow their particular dharma, however inferior it was, but it was a sort of dharma. So, considering that, there is no need for lamenting regarding the loss of Bhishma and Drona's material bodies. Anyone who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira or a most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. So, one who knows the science of soul or who knows the difference between spirit and matter, he is called dhira. The word dhira has been used in the verse. So Prabhupada explains that particular word dhira. The Mayavad theory of awareness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that the spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the supreme souls being unchangeable. So here Mayavad is given an argument that ego Brahma na paraha, dityo nasti, etc. So that is true. Brahma is alone. Brahma is one. Brahma is not two. However, that Brahma is has many varieties. It is not simply just one entity. For example, when we say uh, king, so king is simply one word, or maybe in a most technical sense, it refers to a single person. But uh, in within the context, the word king has been used. It includes his entourage, because um, without an army or without assistance, there is no point of calling someone as a king. So similarly, the word Brahman is not a it does not refer to any one person uh, and single entity. In the most technical sense, it is. However, the Brahman also has varieties. So, like king has many varieties, and uh, that's what qualifies him as being king. Similarly, the word Brahman uh, necessarily includes varieties, because he's uh, by nature or by the very definition of the word Brahman, it is it's all pervading. It is all expanding. So and it has many varieties. So his the symptoms of Brahman has been explained in Vedas and Upanishads. So whenever we define Brahma, we have to consider all the statements of Vedas and Upanishads, and also we should consult the Puranas for the proper understanding of the Vedas. So that's the whole science of interpreting anything from the Vedic text. So here, if we just accept that Brahman means only one person, and because uh, if we accept that uh, Brahma can be many, or individual souls are, uh, if we believe that there is the existence of individual souls, then this identity of Brahma, as explained in Vedas, will be refuted. But that is not so. That Brahma, in its definition, includes all these things. Okay, next. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portion of the Supreme exist eternally, Sanatana, and are called Kshara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so. And even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives in eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to the super soul, which present in each and every individual body and is known as the Paramatma. He is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in water, the reflections represent both the sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmented spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the fourth chapter. So here the analogy of reflection of sun, moon, and stars has been given. So uh, sun, moon, and stars. So they exist together, and they are uh, individuals. So though the reflection in the water may appear single unit, but actually in actuality they are separate entities. They are not the same. So that reflection may appear the same to us, and but we have to make that distinction that these sun, moon, and stars, they are all different entities. So similarly, Arjun, all the warriors on the battlefield, and Lord Shri Krishna, they are all separate living entities. They are not the one. Okay, they are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the fourth chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy Maya, then there is no need of one being the instructor and other the instructed. It's very common sense. So if you accept that ignorance can uh, overpower Brahman, then the ignorance uh, should be accepted as higher than Brahman. But it contradicts the statements of Vedas, where Brahman is the ultimate thing and it is free from Maya. So, and when the same Brahman, Lord Shri Krishna, is instructing Arjuna, so it is natural to assume that Lord Shri Krishna is in the higher position and Arjuna is in the lower position. He is the individual soul, uh, whereas Lord Shri Krishna is the supreme personality of Godhead, and his Lord Shri Krishna is superior to Arjuna. So only in this condition, only in this relationship, this whole scene of Bhagavad Gita or message of Bhagavad Gita can be appreciated. Otherwise, if we accept that Brahman somehow the sometimes can fall into Maya, then there is no need of consulting Bhagavad Gita because it was spoken by someone who can also fall into ignorance. So that actually serves no purpose. So only when we accept that Lord Shri Krishna is superior to Arjuna, he never falls down, and there is a difference between Lord Shri Krishna and Arjuna because Arjuna is being an individual soul, uh, may fall into illusion, but that is not the case with Lord Shri Krishna. So that is the understanding here. If both of them are deluded by the illusion energy, then there is no need of one being the instructor and other be the instructed. Such instruction would be useless because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be an authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that Lord Shri Krishna is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity Arjuna, who is a forgetful soul deluded by Maya. So that is the conclusion here. So, in any way, the concept of Mayavad or Keval Advaitavad, who proposes that Eko Brahma Dityo Nasi, so that cannot be understood in a way that how they see it. So Brahman is one, but it is similar to like describing a king. So king, though it refers to one person, but it has variegatedness. Similarly, Brahman refers to one, but that Brahman also includes variegatedness. Okay, I stop here. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यः एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। श्रीमद् भगवद गीता यज्ञ की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हरे कृष्ण।